Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man once again coming to you live. I'm doing a talking head, and I see I'm getting messages on my earlier two attempts. People are going, "Hi, your voice is 5 by 5, Wayne." Wayne's leaving me a message on my earlier live stream. Hopefully, he will find out to come here. But anyway, yeah, I had some videos I wanted to play, but oh well. There you have it. So, Araceli says, sounds great. That's good. That's good to hear. I see some people rolling in. I'm getting messages where people are on my earlier two live streams, and I guess they'll hear that I've started a new talking head. I've got three different thumbnails. Uh, you know, I have to create my title and enter my thumbnail every time I go live, no matter what platform I'm on. I have to do that enter that stuff, and it takes time. I would rather have gone into YouTube Studio and deleted those first two attempts. That way, the people that are on those live streams right now would be seeing this rather than the two that uh, came through poorly. So, yeah, very frustrating. Hi, Rain. How you doing? Robin, nice to see you. Elva said much better. There, that's good. That's good. Well, I put in this title that this is a auto pen and fraudulent document scandal, and I was because it's they defrauded the American people. They took the presidency away from Joe Biden. If he was having a problem, it should have been handled through the cabinet, but the cabinet apparently was made of people who decided to have power for themselves, which is not permitted under the Constitution. Hi, Miss Menderson. Darla's here. All right. So round three, yeah. Let's see if Gary made it back. All the names we were talking about earlier. I agree, Victor. Military tribunals, it's the only way. Because I'm waiting for the Mockingbird response. MS Motorsports, how you doing? The Mockingbird response is what I'm waiting for. And I was trying to see what is their narrative going to be. Hi, Colette. What is the narrative going to be about Donald Trump declaring everything Joe Biden had done with the auto pen? Yeah, I'm sure it's anything of consequence, not where he uses an auto pen to send a bunch of Girl Scouts thank you notes for letting him sniff them. Not stuff like that. Jerry's here. Well, we're getting some people back. But it should have popped up on notifications. I wish I would have gone to studio and deleted those other two broadcasts. It's probably got people confused. They'll be spending 10 minutes trying to figure out what happened on these other broadcasts. Haha, that's right, Colette. They're going to lose what little bit of minds they have left. I had some examples. Jumanji Brown Jackson is auto pen appointed. Another SCOTUS for Trump. Ha 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 ha. Well, I don't think too many people are going to jump up and down complain about that as far as the judiciary itself. Judges, the loony judges they've been running to because they've been installed by a Marxist insurgency. And Joe What would he do? Would he? Trump said, I read it to y'all that he's going to be charged with perjury. Uh, oh my gosh, that's all. That's all buried in here. It's all flipped around, messed around. You know what I think might be the problem, and I'm not broadcasting on Rumble right now. I'm not simulcasting, and part of the problem may be that uh, I have to be able to stream at the same time to two platforms. So what I should have done, hi Graybeard, what I should have done was just tried to go on YouTube, and I may have to do that in the future. I may have to just broadcast live on YouTube and then upload the videos to Rumble later. That's the way I used to have to do it anyway. Yeah, Victoria, we got to see. Well, a lot of them that are putting out these insane orders. This is going to be unprecedented, and there's two things Trump can hang his hat on. Two things: the auto pen and Joe's condition. You know, he should not have been allowed. Hi, Bill. Secondly, anybody who believes that 81 million vote stuff is an idiot. Either that, or they're complicit, or want to be complicit in what they did. And Trump has said, and, you know, I get warnings from YouTube. I get in trouble for all the time about this the 2020 election. But the bottom line is the president of the United States is saying multiple times that they cheated and stole the election in 2020. A criminal act. And I can repeat what the president of the United States says. So I'll watch myself on other issues during this live stream so they don't pick something else out and say, oh, well, he said something bad about trans people, or he said something bad about the Muslim community or something like that. So I'll be very careful. I'll just stick with that issue. Or if I do say anything about those communities, it will be repeating what the president of the United States says. Hi, Gary, how you doing? They're watching you. Randy, how you doing? They're watching. Yeah, they're watching a lot of people. You know, have you all ever? I read. I have a couple of books. George Zukov, General Zukov. He published a book. I think it's 1959. I have a original copy, hardcover copy of his memoirs from World War II. I have a book of that Stalin's daughter wrote, and as many of you know, I read Rise and Fall of the Third Reich twice, with a 20-year gap between readings, maybe 25-year gap. As primitive as their technology was, the Kremlin kept an eye on everybody. Can you imagine the level of surveillance they would do with this kind of technology we have? But I'm talking in a close to third world country is what the Soviet Union or Russia was. I mean, just a few clicks above two tin cans and a string for communications. I mean, they had old telephone lines and stuff like that, but they had a lot of surveillance. And people think you're paranoid when you say you're being monitored or watched, but no, they can pull your phone calls up. They talk about warrants. Listen, senators and members of the House are not safe. Trump was not safe. The president of the United States from being surveilled, we're not safe. Okay? Our calls histories, our actual telephone calls, they can even get into our phones, and I could be watched without giving permission, without knowing about it at all. Right now, somebody can be watching my face even though my camera's off. They have the ability to cut the camera on your phone without you knowing about it. I know because I've done it. Because you can get an app that does it. If I have a tablet, I can put my EIN number for a phone in that tablet, and I can control that phone remotely from my tablet. So I can leave it laying in somebody's house. I can cut the mic on and listen to conversations. I can cut the camera on and watch what's going on in that room, and the phone won't even light up. They won't even know it's been cut on. And that was, as I've said before, close to 15 years ago, an app you can get to this day. So you're just a few clicks away. So no, it's not... you keep it in one place, Victor. So anyway, there's two strong points that Trump is going to be driving home. As soon as the Mockingbird, before many of you got into this new broadcast, what I'm curious about and what I'm going to start watching very, very closely, what their response will be, the Mockingbird media. What is the narrative they're going to try to push about Trump declaring Biden's orders and pardons null and void? What is they're going to try to, of course, whip up their base. They've already done that. They've done that plenty of, look at all the violence we've had. All the violence. And it's just starting. And of course, the narrative starts to come through. I had some screenshots from Midas Trash Network where they're saying that it was Trump's fault. They even used the term BLOOD on his hands, that Trump has that, because the National Guard, in their narrative, should never have been called out to D.C., which is insane. They give the statistics for robberies, for red rum, myrrh, and then dur, okay? They could put, and it's just dropped off. He saved lives by putting a couple hundred guardsmen in our nation's capital. What the hell's wrong with that? But they're already starting that narrative up. Now they've been blindsided. We're kind of blindsided that he came out with this out of the blue, even though he's been alluding to it. When he did allude to defeating these proclamations, pardons, and as some of you in the chats are pointing out, judgeships, people he's appointed for judgeships, If they're signed with the auto pen, they're void. So even we're a little stunned because it was just done today. I mean, we pleasantly stunned. We're not angry about it. It's something that in our ideal world, he would have done right after inauguration. But as we know now, that wasn't plausible because it would have risked too much disruption in civil peace, civility, comity within the body politic would have been disrupted. So they have got to come out with a narrative, and they're all going to sing the same song. Hi, Sparky, how you doing? Yeah, their base is shrinking. You know what? I'm getting somebody else left a message on my earlier video. Cole, come on. Cole is trying to get over here. Come on, Cole. He's leaving a message on the other videos. I'm on a new stream. So, if you and Trump has said it's such a shame if they would use their creativity and their energy for good, but they use their creativity and their conniving and their energy for bad. So, what are they going to connive up as a talking point to do about Trump, especially as if some people in the chats are speculating that Ketanji Brown Jackson will be a non-entity on the court? How will the Supreme Court deal with that? Oh, really? Do you think John Ratcliffe is a mole? You think he's a black hat or a white hat? Hi, Jerry. Well, Jackson, they say that Clarence Thomas uh, is audibly disgusted. I mean, you can hear him sometimes. He's stopped it to a large degree, but in past arguments, you could hear him groan. You could see him roll his eyes and look at the ceiling like, what the hell am I listening to from Ketanji Brown Jackson? It's sophomoric, college level, crybaby BS in her so-called opinions or dissents. Juvenile. So the court can keep operating with less than 9 seats, as long as they've got a what would be a quorum for a Supreme Court? 6, I think. Auto pen justice, Miss Benderson said. So anyway, what's their narrative going to be? We shall see. Because I don't think the ramifications have sunk in the heads of the people that run the Mockingbird media yet. The ones that do the final approval, I believe, are over in China, and but the workhorses are people like Weissman. Okay, Glenn Kirshner. I played him for you all the other night. I was going to play him again tonight because I think he is subject to arrest. That's my opinion. Do you all remember me playing the guy named Glenn Kirshner? Night before last, where he flat out said, did you all heard it? That he said Trump was giving illegal orders and that the military was following illegal orders, which is a violation of the laws of war. He's accusing both the military and Trump. He's undermining the morale of the military, and that is a civil crime that you can be charged for civilly. And he did it on that with Jen Psaki on that program formerly known as MSNBC, now known as MS Now. I have the video in my phone if nobody steals it out of my device, where he, next time we get, now that a lot of you hear what I was saying earlier, is I may have to quit simulcasting live on Rumble. I love everybody that's stuck with me on Rumble. And I'll upload this video later. I have to just take a couple of hours to upload it and then or download it into my system, and then I upload it to Rumble. So it takes me a couple of hours, which is tedious. But when I don't have to stream simultaneously on two different platforms, maybe that will defeat this problem I'm having. Some of you who are savvy with internet speeds, well, from your lips to God's ear, Gary, as they say, from your lips to God's ear, maritime law is dead and constitutional law is incoming. Yes, let's all, and it should have always been constitutional law. Oh, what I put in my title on the thing that Trump said, I had a clip of it. Trump said, we're getting so much in tariffs that it's going to give tax rebates and could probably do away with the income tax altogether. We knew that was part of the deal, but he is introducing it to the people. Those are the big things, the three big things he put out. Three big things. The tariffs are going to replace the income tax. Joe Biden's cabal instituting the law through an auto pen is void. And we're going to do remigration. We're talking at least 1 million people. 300 and some Haitians have had their TPS removed. 600 and some, almost 700,000 El Salvadorians. That's 1 million right there. And we're looking at 70,000 Somalians. 70,000 Somalians. And that's just the beginning. Now, what's their narrative going to be? Well, they were going to say, oh, he's anti-Muslim. Oh, he's anti-Latino. Oh, now they're just going to boil it down to people with brown skin. They've already said that a couple of times. Yeah, anchor babies were never real citizens anyway. Jersey Joe, how you doing? So those are the three things, and the deep state is off balance. They're off balance. Now they were probably prepared for it at the beginning of Trump's term. They were probably all fired up, and all they need is a couple of issues that they could inflame the electorate and uh, get people riled up and try to eject Trump somehow, whether it's through impeachment, whether it's through uh, intimidating the cabinet or uh, whatever. But he's staggering them out and he's keeping them off balance terrifically. They have to constantly try to come up with narratives that just defy common sense. This talk that Trump is responsible for the National Guardsmen being shot is ridiculous, but that's all they've got. And how much more, except for the committed fanatics don't have a problem repeating illogical nonsense. But the number of people who have been nipping at Trump's heels or going after him constantly are exasperated. I had some examples in my studio from Midas Trash Pail Network, where people, I read you one day before yesterday where people saying, your titles are misleading. This is driving me crazy. Just report facts. And people in the comments saying, yeah, this is stupid. Well, it's gotten even worse. Their own subscribers are telling them that they're clickbait. And the people that come in are in the comments totally 100% pro-Midas and 100% anti-Trump. Many times they're Canadian, they're from the UK, they're from Australia. And that business of putting a country of origin on Twitter, they ought to do it on YouTube. When you put a comment up and it's got the handle, like I'm Mount Man 2, you got Gary M8B, Graybeard 277, put the country flag right behind the YouTube handle when they make a comment. It's gotten cold out and my nose is running. I got to hit the mute button to blow my nose. I was outside, man. 1 minute the sun shines, not too bad, and then it gets gray, and it's like you see your breath in the middle of the day. 2 days before that, it's almost 70. So that is pneumonia weather. They call it old wives' tales, but they know what they're talking about. You all didn't put the numbers and letters in? What is that with the numbers and letters showing up behind everybody's names? What does all that mean? I thought you all did it. So, because yours shows up on my screen as Jersey Joe 1313. Does it show up on your all screen like that, or when you make a comment on other sites? Wow, Victor, that's great news. I'll put you on the screen with that. I said, oh, how do I do that now? Uh-oh. Okay, here we go. Is it up? Yeah. Florida, no income tax. Next year, no property tax. Are you sure about that, Victor? Hope, no Fed tax. Open carry, concealed carry. Man, it'd be just like the America we had for damn near 200 years before these Marxist liberals took over. Let's see. All right. Aha, I figured it out. Uh, 7 was a demolition. I'm missing something. I wish they gave more room to be able to uh DeSantis will be pushing no property tax. YouTube did it. Put the numbers and letters behind people's names. I would rather they put up the flag of their countries that they're showing up at. Miss Mindersu's, yeah, she just went in and changed it. Let me put a comment in and see how let me see how my I'm gonna put in howdy doody. Wait a minute. I put somebody with a cowboy hat on there. Wait a minute. I had a guy with a cowboy hat up there for a minute. Where'd it go? Wait a minute. Howdy. Howdy. See if I got letters behind my name. There we go. Howdy doody. That's why they, oh gosh, I forgot about that. That's what they said. Here we go. I just said it. Howdy doody. It just says Mount Man 2. I ain't got no numbers behind me. Debbie is H5U. What does that mean? Jersey Joe 1313. Bill Carson is T1J. Make all payments to Bill Carson. I'm so broke I can't spend the night. Oh, hey, you guys have been with me a long time. Then be honest with me. I wanted to play a clip where Donald Trump said something. I said, a friend of mine, a business partner, not the one that died. He passed away. He was 98 years old. Or, yeah. And another friend of mine. I told a story about him a couple of times. I said when he was dealing with people, he would be patient to a certain degree. But at some point, if they were insisting on being argumentative, he would just look at them and say, "Are you stupid?" Do you all remember me telling that story? I said, that's the kind of business people I worked with for years. And he would only do it at certain times. He would say, "Are you stupid?" And I mean, he's a person who dealt with presidents of companies. He dealt with state legislators. He dealt with uh, heads of federal departments over years, And if push came to shove, he'd look at him and say, "Are you stupid?" And I said, that's Darla said she thinks she remembers me telling that story. And Jersey Joe remembers. And I said that my problem was back then was that I didn't see the genius of that. When I get mad, I just say, "You're stupid," But he got me to understand it's not as personal if you ask it like a question, believe it or not, that little question mark at the end, are you stupid? Is not as direct as an insult as saying, you're stupid. So it got me to moderate my approaches with difficult people. Let me see, relax, Bill. Bill, what's my pager number? What do you want my pager number for? I don't have a pager. Didn't you learn anything from what happened to Hamas? They said they gave numbers to people where there is another individual with the same name being used to distinguish between the account's channels. Don't know if it's a lie or truth. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Miss Emergency. Trump did it today, and I got a video of it. I was doing that same meme where he's holding a beer and pointing at the screen, going, "Oh!" That's what I was doing. I said, "Yeah, that we've been doing that since 1995. Are you stupid?" So, and I said that's what we need to get down to. Bill, what are you panhandling? You know, I was going to use that term when I'm talking about these Somalis. We didn't give them citizenship to come here and panhandle and try to promulgate their lifestyle. If they're going to maintain a lifestyle and loyalty to their home country, they should not be eligible to immigrate. The Italians blended. They kept their culture. They kept their quirks, or whatever you want to call it. The Irish, Germans, but they blended in. They had the American spirit as far as independence, not looking for government solutions, which of course is an oxymoron. There's no such damn thing as a government solution. They're not there to solve anything. We're the problem solvers. We're the ones who are supposed to be plucking this chicken. We're the ones that are driving. We're in the driver's seat. Self-governance. They're there to do what we want. But it has changed. Changed, most notably after World War I and leading up to World War I. And we all know about the Titanic. We all know about Jekyll Island. We all know about all the machinations, manipulations, and game plan that they did. But up until that time, we call the shots. But now there is a sense of nobility. If you become a bureaucrat, you're automatically elevated in your own mind, societally, as to be a part of a different class. The bureaucratic class. And they actually do have more access, more power, more leisure time than the average American. And it's not supposed to be that way. I want everybody to have leisure time. I want everybody to have access to money and the ability to make money. I want people to get paid a fair wage. I'm not saying, starve your bureaucrat. No. But the point is that they've entered a different world, and that world is being destroyed because it's like during earlier broadcasts, I said, what are we going to do? And I said, these literally millions of people who are ineffective, have no skills other than to run their mouths or sit behind a desk and look important, and their whole world view, their Weltanschauung, is an artifice. It's a created Potemkin village, something that's not real. But it's one click away from being real for the last 50 years. Hot water heater. I don't know if y'all can hear that. The golden age, that's right. Miss Menderson. Gary says it's coming soon. Well, I tell you what, this has got, they're spending the baddies are spending their holiday weekend brainstorming on how to throw dung at Trump. And people are getting exasperated. They're getting sick of it. Even the ones who have traditionally been against Trump are seeing this as a ridiculous show. And wait till they start exposing who's behind the show. Namely, who's the one giving the 4 a.m. talking points. Did you all hear there was a big operation in Arizona? I think it was called Operation Citadel. And it's gotten very little news coverage. And I'm wondering if it's not a propaganda. I don't know if it's somebody putting out something extraordinary that's not true. I don't know. I think it's some validity to it. I heard that they busted simultaneously 150 drug sites in Arizona. And if you look at the map, that makes the most sense of how to get drugs in Arizona. California, there's cameras every 10 feet everywhere. Arizona, there's a lot of land to go around, and nobody's going to be around to see it. But I heard multiple tunnels, like a half a dozen. And I don't mean just little holes in the ground. I heard there was a bust that netted 5,000 perpetrators, people involved, and that there were a half a dozen major tunnels shut down, tons of fentanyl, and that Border Patrol, some of the arrests were long-time Border Patrol agents that were getting 3 figures, like 300,000, over 300,000. One was 460,000 over a period of years. They gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars for turning their heads, for switching labels on shipment containers. And because you can print a label up that says something is called like emergency medical supplies. And there's only so many people have access to those types of labels. And they run through a coordination system. It's not something you print off site, glue to a package, and put it in the feed. It has to be uh, generated within the inspection system. So they would put this, say, emergency medical supplies, and the stuff would fly right through really fast. Oh my gosh, it's an emergency! Get this stuff through. They don't know if it's a kidney. They don't know if it's a, time-sensitive medication that could spoil, or somebody needs it, or they're going to die, or they don't know. And it's really just fentanyl, crack, whatever. So they were smart about it. They would only do it so often so it wouldn't get caught and blend it in. So, yeah, I heard there were people working at airports. Remember when Sheriff Judd did a news press conference last year, and I played the press conference where he said drugs at this level, drugs in this amount coming through our airports could not have happened without some connections with the Department of high up in the Department of Homeland Security. Remember when he said that? My problem is I've done so many videos for me to find it. But I was saying that Sheriff Judd, this was before Trump took office, that Sheriff Judd was pointing out there are people at high levels of the government involved in the drug trade. So, hey, it's that long green I was talking about, right? Yeah, they got sheriffs, mayors, border patrol, um, what do you call it? The ones who check you at airports. What are they called? The NSA. So there were gunfights. A lot of the raids were done in the wee hours of the morning, but it was simultaneous. I think it was over a 2-day period. They got 5,000 people. TSA, I meant to say. Yeah, right. Thank you, Jersey Joe. Colette, yeah, thank you. NSA is National Security Agency. But anyway, I would encourage you also. I need to write one of those channels down. That's a better channel that go over people who have taken bribes to betray their country. And a lot of them you all remember from the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I talked about Aldrich James, okay? Robert Hansen, people that we have not executed anybody for espionage since the Rosenbergs. Remember me saying that about 3 or 4 broadcasts ago? Well, that has to stop. There is one story. I don't know. Some of these channels are annoying because they have AI voices and they use AI pictures, but most of them have the main storyline right. But Aldrich Ames, I think he was convicted in 1994, and he's still alive, I believe. I think he's like 83 years old. And they know he caused at least 10 people to lose their lives. If you were conducting espionage for the United States in the USSR or anywhere in the if you were in Poland or Czechoslovakia or anything controlled by the Soviet satellite, if it was Soviet, and they caught you, you got tortured, and you got snuffed. And he cost at least 10 people, at least, and billions of dollars worth of intelligence that will cost us billions to recover our supremacy in areas of many different areas. Why he shouldn't be around. But the reason he's around is because back in the 70s, 80s, leading up to 90s, 60s, after they busted up Joe McCarthy's record when he was doing the worrying about communist infiltration, and then the media jumped on him and made it seem like he was a conspiracy theorist and he was a bully, and he ended up dying a broken man. Joe McCarthy. They've destroyed his reputation. He was a senator. And after they call it to this day, the McCarthy era. Oh, we don't want to be like the McCarthy era. Well, if you watch some of these platforms that tell about past espionage, you'd be shocked. How many people took money, betrayed their country, caused people to lose their lives, and put our country at risk? And they got 20 years, 15 years. Nobody ever got what the Rosenbergs got. That was a husband and wife team that gave away atomic secrets. And they're the last spies to be executed. That's why we ended up with an Alder James and everything in between. A man's reputation destroyed. He basically drank himself to death. He couldn't go out. All the newspapers sullied him. And now look what we have. We had a presidency with a demented old man surrounded by communists running our country. We have people, generations of people, who have paid more in property taxes than their purchase price of their flipping home. And it ain't over. They have to pay to the day they damn well die. You don't own a damn thing. They own us. I have that 4-minute clip from Ronald Reagan. Next time I get a good signal, I'll play it. They've got everything in place since the 1960s to take everything we own. Part of the precipice is when people realize that this Mamdani rhetoric of taxing white people. Oh, no, I meant neighborhoods that are better off. Happen to be white. They just happen to be white. I didn't mean tax white people. Oh, well, that's better. Like hell it is. How close we came to where people would be in power. And the fact that they weren't born here, the fact that they don't want to enforce the Constitution, they don't respect the Constitution, they don't respect our way of life. Apart from that, they get in power. They will take your property by force. and the media will give them an aura of righteousness, and you become a second-class citizen, stripped of your rights, stripped of your property, and relegated to slave status. And there goes self-governance, and you're being ruled by people that don't even belong in this country. You got in Jersey, you got cops with Palestinian flags on their uniforms. How would you like to be a Jewish person in New Jersey? In New York, they've got them with Arabic writing on their uniforms in New York. And we've got all these blue localities that are allowing new neighbors to vote in local elections. And nobody sees a problem with that. What the hell is wrong with people? Trump Scott Bessent came out and said that they were stopping social programs being expended on illegal aliens, non-citizens, put it that way. Because if you get a visa to come over here, if you get a residency card, if you get a green card, excuse me while I was sipping my coffee, you have to show that you're not going to be a burden. You're coming to benefit this country. You have to show that you have the ability to work. You have to show that you have a skill. You have to have a job. You can't just come here and jump on welfare. That's the way it used to be. But when it really took off with the abuses was the Obama administration, when he said he was going to fundamentally change America. Boy, howdy did he. That's the opposite of howdy doody. Boy, howdy did he. And you had to have a sponsor. Somebody, I helped sponsor somebody from Columbia years ago, about 15 years ago. She wanted to go to college and be an architect, working jobs, and to be able to get her student visa, she needed somebody that would sponsor, back her up if something bad happened. If she needed, have a little bit of money in my account, that I said I would be willing to help her if something happened. If she broke a foot or couldn't work or something like that. Nothing ever came of it, but it helped her. But the point was, back then, it might have been more than 15 years ago. It might have been between 15 and 20 years ago. But now they don't need that. They can come here a complete wreck, a drug addict, ex-con, or a fugitive. And then, me hungry, me hurt, my back hurt, and go to the emergency room and get pain pills for free. They don't got to report to nobody. They don't have to show they have a job. They don't do squat. It's like Trump said, they're coming for the gravy. Oh, but wait a minute. They might want to vote. They might have an opinion. My voice counts too, don't you? Then they have these rights popping up out of the ground. How do you like that? They're going to vote on a tax increase for your real estate. Everybody from Bolivia and Cameroon and people showing up to vote and lose. Going to vote on your property taxes. And these dopey liberals Oh, well, they should have a say. They're people too. I need to get a clip. I need to get a clip. I'm laughing to myself. Hi, Outlandish. How you doing? I need to get a clip where William Shatner, the screen is fuzzy and then it gets clear and you see Ricardo Mothball sitting there and Shatner goes, "Come!" I need to get that clip. It's just like 4 seconds, 3 seconds. I need to get that. I'll see about that when I get. But I didn't see anything. Any thoughts of about this simulcasting, about broadcasting, and I went 3 weeks with no problems. Rumble and YouTube at the same time. But it takes a lot. When you're in a remote area, you got to send out a pretty stout signal to be able to broadcast on 2 platforms at the same time. And I was saying earlier before everybody came in that I regretted that I didn't try to do my picture show and just do it on YouTube and not do it on Rumble. And it might have given me enough juice to have a clearer stream. What do you all think? Is there a difference? Is there a difference between just streaming on one platform versus 2 at a time? Does streaming on 2 platforms increase the stress on the system? Any of you all out there that are familiar with this stuff? Because if that's the case, I might have to just upload my Rumble videos later. And like I said, I appreciate my Rumble crowd. And if you're on Rumble, go ahead and hit the follow button. Give me a thumbs up. But in all fairness, there's no. I get a few comments from like one guy comments sometimes. You know who you are, tripe. Ha ha. And a couple other people, but usually it's people trying to contact me to provide me a service, and they'll help me with my views, that kind of stuff. I don't know if they're trying to sell me bots or to make it look like I got more views or what it is. I don't know. But no, I don't get hardly any comments. There's no participation in Buy Me a Coffee. Zero. I've got 1,000, almost 1,000 videos. Well, I won't say it's that much. It might be about 900, and tens of thousands of hours of view time, and not one, and a link in every video. And there's not. Andrew Branco was talking about that. He's just saying, Rumble's like dead. Then somebody will kick in and give him a little something and ask a question. You know what? Andrew Branco, for a $5 super chat, you can talk to a premier lawyer. Can you believe that? Never leave the battlefield. That's right, Miss Brenda Sue. Ha ha! Back at you, Gary. I'm glad you're feeling good about things. And I hope you all are feeling good about things too. And that's what, when I first started broadcasting, I was saying, be patient. We're in for a long march. I talked about how the Revolutionary War was 7 years. We didn't have a weekend of, hey, It's 1776 this weekend. Look what I got. What? A Constitution. What? Really? Yeah. And guess what? What? We just ran off Cornwallis. We're independent. Oh, man. Oh, man. Now we got to face Monday. Well, I just got finished saying, thank God it's Friday. No, it took 7 years of fighting, battle, lives lost. And then more years after that of back and forth where Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. Of banging our heads against the wall, trying to get all the colonies to agree to a body of a constitution. And then after the Constitution was ratified, we did the Bill of Rights. And that all had to be hammered out. It took years. Not a lot of people know that. The Constitution was stood alone. There was no First Amendment. There was no Second Amendment. There was no free speech in the original Constitution. There was no right to keep and bear arms. That's why they're called amendments. And there were 10 of them bundled together. And that's why we call it the Bill of Rights. It was passed after the Constitution was solidified. So these things don't happen at the snap of a finger. It didn't happen then, and it sure in the hell ain't going to happen now. But the strategy, the points of success that they're after have been laid out for a long time. I'm sure for 20 years, Trump has known tariffs need to replace this onerous tax system. I'm sure he's got a different concept of what legal tender for the United States should be. I'm sure he's got a different concept for financing the government, a different concept of banking. In other words, the Fed needs to be redone or totally rejected. The IRS should be a non-entity, and central banks should be gotten rid of. Just like Andrew Jackson did. He called it rag money. Yeah, Victor, Trump put out a meme with Trump 2028. I kind of hinted at what I thought the strategy was going to be, and I won't do it again. But I in one of my past broadcasts, I said what I thought he was going to do to be serving 28 through 32. Yeah, that's true, Outlandish. That's true. But no, it's just your luck that you're here at this biblical moment in time to witness it. Because if it wasn't for us that have been dealing with this corrupt system for decades, seen our parents be hoodwinked and stolen from, our grandparents, for the most part, got off this earth pretty well unscathed, just a little bit. But our parents, if they didn't have this government-backed medical system, and if they didn't have Medicare, and they had to pay out of their pocket the way we always did for hundreds of years for their doctor, your parents and you yourself would have a legacy of medical bills in the millions of dollars. Tell me I'm wrong. My grandmother, my grandfather never went to the doctor. Their prescriptions were the cost of a bottle of aspirin back in 1955. But then you look at the generations that have followed. Look at friends who have been to the hospital, got a hip replacement, got chemotherapy, got a bypass surgery, got a new knee. They don't even know what was charged because they don't pay it, because the government pays it. Find out what the totals for those bills would be. It would bankrupt people. There's no way you could survive. And even other professions are a necessity to function in this hamster wheel society they've created, where you're constantly on a hamster wheel. You have to have your own accountant, unless you do some short form taxes. But if you get involved in business, if you try to run your own business, you have to have an attorney to set up an LLC. You have to buy insurance for errors and omissions. You got to buy liability insurance. You got to pay for an accountant. You got to store all records and everything like that. And if you screw anything up, look at what they tried to do with Trump, 34 felonies because a figure, a sum of money was written on the wrong line. They wanted to put him in jail for decades, for the rest of his life. And that's what I was talking about, was the precipice. When you have people in control like Mom Dami, like Hillary Clinton, like Kamala Harris, who can destroy life with a signature, right? And they decide that a certain group of people put the wrong number on the wrong line. Thousands and thousands and thousands of them. And they decide to prosecute. Their lives are destroyed because the attorneys charge $300 an hour. But I didn't do anything wrong. Well, you better hire me because you're going to have to do it a certain way in front of the court, and you need an attorney for that. Oh, we've been together 20 minutes. That'll be $200. And they could destroy people's lives en masse. But anyway, that's how close we've come, folks. Hebrew Hammer, how you doing? And the thing is, we ain't out of the woods. We're not out of the woods. But this is a seminal moment with declaring Biden's presidency, for the most part, the Marxist influence part of his presidency the fraudulent documents, findings, or executive orders, appointments, pardons, all that stuff is being void. They have been squealing about a constitutional crisis for almost 10 years with Trump. Well, guess what? They're going to be in crisis. Because the bottom line is Trump is right. Trump is right that those documents are illegal and of no force and effect. It's not our fault. It's not Trump's fault. And the facts are the facts. So who's really going to be having a crisis? And what are they going to do about it? That's right, Graybeard. Fraud vitiates everything. I want to see what happens to this guy, Glenn Kirshner, because he said he was Army. He was Judge Advocate General for the Army. You all saw that. And he, in my opinion, as a layman, and from my understanding of civil law, that he committed a crime when he accused Trump of giving unlawful orders and said the military was following unlawful orders, that he was negatively affecting the morale and encouraging mutiny and sedition in the armed forces. I wouldn't be surprised if he got arrested. And he needs to be, in my opinion. Glenn Kirshner, maybe he's going to be the first. You know, they're going to start these things off with these small fries just to get people used to it. Yeah, Felix, those judges, Judge Alito said there needs to be consequences for the judges that ignore the Supreme Court. And I can't even keep track of how many times these selected judges have tried to hamper Trump with the National Guard in violation of previous Supreme Court rulings. Something that it's built a record. It's built a record. And Judge Alito was saying the Supreme Court is not a policing body. He didn't say that, but he's pointing it out that somebody needs to do something. Because it's not a policing body. Somebody with policing authority needs to do it. So maybe they're putting their little heads together, or they already have. What can you charge a judge with who is violating the Supreme Court rulings? Isn't that unlawful? Well, name it. Name what it is. And charge them. I don't know. We shall see. But anyway, folks, I'm really happy that so many of you stuck with me. I'm going to see about this doing one platform at a time. I didn't see I don't expect people to know all the ins and outs of streaming. But I might just do one thing and upload to Rumble. And I don't mean to insult the people on. I got a wood stove, rain. I got to clean the chimney out though. I let it die out today because it's getting a little smoky. But I didn't see much input. Hi, Stan, on the streaming question. It's so time consuming to re-upload to another, or maybe I'll just do more talking heads than picture shows. I don't know. But I hope y'all had fun tonight. Did y'all have fun? And the weekend, the month isn't over yet. And I want to thank Wayne and Chairman of the Board, Gary, and as always, Mike and Bev for helping support the channel through Buy Me a Coffee. I got a link in the description if anybody wants to help out. You might have to copy the link and then put it in Google because it won't go straight from YouTube to, well, I'll plop it in here in the chats. But I forgot how to do it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was a rocky start, and I appreciate everybody that kept coming back. And we ended up with quite a few people, and I think we had fun tonight. And let me know in the comments if you're watching after this live stream, what you think of that streaming problem. Is it better to do it one platform at a time? Would that make the signal go better? But anyway, here's for channel support. And anybody watching after the live stream, I put a different link in the at the end of the chats. You'll see it. Yeah, Miss Menderson said, good night, everybody. If I missed anybody, thank you, Felix. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But anyway, I should be streaming again. Now, if something big happens, I'm going to go up tomorrow night, okay? But yeah, I usually don't stream on Saturdays, so I should be going up Sunday. But if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. So anyway, thank you for spending your precious time with me. Let's see how the Mockingbird media tries to construct a narrative to damage Trump over this business of nullifying Joe Biden's, not Joe Biden, the criminals that took his presidency over. Let's see how they try to twist it, folks. So anyway, thank you, Eris. I'll see you all have a great evening. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.